Hi everyone, nice to see you and welcome. My name is Luigi Pellecchia, I'm from Italy. I'm a Principal Software Quality Engineer at Red Hat, and I'm also a member of the Technical Steering Committee of ELISA. ELISA has its own booth at the Solution Showcase, so if you want to know more about this Linux Foundation project, join us at the Solution Showcase. This session is about BASIL, an open source tool that is developed under the ELISA umbrella. And the agenda today is a quick overview of the tool for who is hearing about it for the first time. And then we will see last feature developed in the last few months, a demo of those features. So we will see how the tool works and what you can do with the tool. And then what's the plan, a quick overview of the plan of the next features that we have in the roadmap. So let's start with the overview. It will be really quick. This tool has been developed to manage work items and design a traceability matrix between all those work items to your software component. And it's born at Red Hat to support RIVOS, functional safety ISO 26262 compliance certification. And its name comes from the integrity level that we targeted for RIVOS, that's ASIL-B. So an easy choice for the name. And then we presented this project to ELISA during one of the workshops that we have every year. And today is available as an open source project under the ELISA GitHub at the URL available under the QR code. So let's see what you can do with BASIL. As a starting point, you have a software component, and you can choose for your software component a reference document that can be a software specification, software manual, or your source code, whatever have a sense for your work to create the traceability metrics on top of it. And once you have this document, you can split it into sections that we name snippets. And on top of each snippet, you can design the traceability, designing your work items and connecting pieces together. So let's see a bit of details on the mapping that you can generate on your reference document. So you can design software requirements, test specification, test cases, justification, and documents. And you can create relationship between those elements as the arrows that you see. So you can have a multiple level of software requirements. You can map test specification to requirements, test cases to test specification or to requirements. And everything can be also mapped directly to the reference document that can be also your source code. And then you will be able from within the tool to execute your test cases, because BASIL comes with an embedded test infrastructure, but also is able to interact with external test infrastructures. And you can relate to test results, bugs, or bug fixes. And that helps you to design, in a safety critical application, the traceability metrics that you need as evidence for your certification effort or for just to put in place a quality management system. So let me list quickly some strengths of this tool. So the first absolutely is open source. So then it comes with an user interface and an HTTP REST API. That's remarkable because any action that you do from the UI can be automated via HTTP API, not via any code. It's able to generate SPDX based SBOM file in JSON. So, and it takes into account the full traceability matrix. It's able to keep history of all the changes for all the work items and support user management and granular user permissions. So you can decide who can read, who can write, who can do things on your software component. Hello, welcome. The big idea behind this tool is to help community. So it's trying to clarify gaps and it comes with in-app and email notification. And as I said before, it also comes with an embedded test infrastructure and support for external test infrastructure. From last few months, it's also able to import software requirements from external sources, so like JSON, YAML, a different format, and it's also able to import test cases from remote test repository using TMT. Yeah, we will see soon what is this TMT. TMT is a Red Hat project. It's the acronym of Test Management Tool. It's the choice for this tool as the embedded test infrastructure because this tool solves the problem of how to run test suite written in different source code in different languages against different system under test that can be a container, a virtual machine, a physical hardware, whatever. So this tool solves all those problems. So it was the choice now for the embedded infrastructure. So how it works is a simple YAML file that you have to use to abstract your test case, and you can specify the entry point of your test case, and from the UI of BASIL, you can select your target system under test that can be connected via SSH, so it can be whatever, or you can spin up a container or a virtual machine. And then for the external test infrastructure, BASIL helps you to list test results from external test infrastructure, to map a single test result to a test case, or to trigger a test run in the external test infrastructure. So we at ELISA, we have a public instance of the tool that you can use to play with it. So this is the URL. You can create your account, and then you can create your software component and start having a bit of experience with the tool. So let's see a few features that we introduced in the last few months. So today is available a script that helps you to deploy a version of the tool on your system. It takes care about creating Podman container, volumes, whatever you need to start the application, just with the effort of interacting with a bash script. And it is configurable via script options. Then we improved a lot user management, because at the beginning we used the email for to, let's say, we expose email information for the user, but we started having a public instance of the tool, so people asked to take those information reserved. So we are now supporting username, and we also added the configuration for an email server configuration that can be used to reset passwords, send notification, and stuff like that. And another point that was a bit painful was the possibility to configure user permission with a high granularity, because you can have a project with a lot of users. So, and you need, let's say, a UI enhanced to really simplify this process and save time. So we will see this feature later. From the last version, it's also possible to clone the full setting of permission to different software components, so it's really time-saving. As I said before, it's now possible to import software requirements. The supported format are CSV, YAML, JSON, spreadsheet, and StrictDoc SPDX JSON, but also the SPDX generated by BASIL itself. It's also possible to import test cases from external test repository. I just listed two test repositories that are implementing TMT. So you can see it's from Red Hat. The first example is a Fedora project for glibc, and the second is a kernel test repository, where all the tests are defined using this TMT format. So the tool is able to scan the repository, generating a JSON with all the information. Then you can consume this JSON to import all the test cases in your tool, and then you can just press a button, run the same test case from remote repository to your system under test. So you can run a kernel test from this repository on your hardware. So we extended the support for external test infrastructure to Lava, the automated framework from Linaro, where you can list test result, but you can also trigger execution on Lava. Today, the supported external infrastructure are GitLab CI, GitHub Action, kernel CI, and Testing Farm. Testing Farm is another Red Hat project that you can also experiment with. It's also based on TMT. We also introduced the support for AI suggestion in-app. So if you configure an AI agent that is available on a URL via OpenAI, you can interact with it and get in-app suggestion for the development of your work item. So imagine you have to design a test specification. You can ask to an AI from within the app, pressing a button to share some suggestion, because you share the piece of reference document that you want to use. So the tool will try to parse the output that is expected in a YAML-like format and will populate the UI for you. So then you can see a piece of reasoning from the AI and the UI populated. We will see something later. So that's the workflow. So essentially, the UI check availability for the AI agent via the backend API of BASIL tool. If it's available, it will display additional UI element like buttons to help you to interact with these features. And when you ask suggestion, the backend will interact again with the AI API, sharing the context of your analysis, so the software component that you are working on, the piece of reference document or specification that you want to analyze, and it will return some feedback that, if it's possible to parse automatically, will populate the UI. So here is really a meaning of using a powerful, let's say, LLM that can share, let's say, not hallucinate the response as possible. So in the last few months, we re-enabled in CI the end-to-end testing based on Cypress, and also we extended the API testing that's now also running in CI with the support of code coverage. So the idea is to clarify the gap to everyone that want to contribute and have, let's say, this goal of trying to test all the code that we have in our repository. So, and we also worked on remove some limitation that we had in the past months about some features that were created on top of some Chrome API. So now you can use whatever browser you want, because we tried to abstract all those features. So another news is about Discord. Elisa just started a Discord server, and BASIL have its own channel. So if you're interested or you want to have some feedback or just want to schedule, let's say, a demo or whatever, you can write on this Discord channel. So let's see a quick demo of the tool. So I have my local instance. I don't know if it's big enough. Okay. So I have my local instance of the tool where I added some library. You can organize software component by libraries. And as you see, I'm not logged in with any user, so I can see what a guest can see. So you can have a public instance and let an assessor able to join this instance and navigate your traceability. Or you can specify who can read, who can write, and also hide things to people that, for example, need to sign an NDA to access some information. So let me just log in with an user. So now I'm logged in with the admin user, so I can see also this software component that wasn't visible before. Let's take this an example. So this example is about a cruise control. For the one I'm analyzing this functionality that's the vehicle following. So that's kind of ASIL-B functionality. And for the one I assigned, my reference document is the software specification. So it's the full cruise control specification. But in reality, I'm just interested in this single functionality. My analysis is really focused on that. So it's just a small piece of this document. So this is just an example, but so you can also analyze the full document in a single place. So the tool proposed different mapping view. This is just the raw specification. And because there are the possibility that a different team want to focus on different things. So someone want to focus on requirements, someone want to focus on test cases and stuff like that. As you know, as you saw before, you can map also other work items to requirements. So in the software requirement mapping view, you will see also the work items that are mapped to the software requirements. So just let me show an example. So this section is not relevant for my analysis, so I just added a justification to clarify. That's useful because you want to show that you analyze the full content of your specification. It's a way to ensure that your analysis is complete. No? So let's go through the section that I'm interested to, that's vehicle following behavior. So I assigned to it some software requirements, and you can assign to work item also a percentage of completeness that today in the tool is wrongly named coverage, but is can be misleading, but it's a kind of percentage of completeness that's say to specify if it's a work item itself is enough to completely describe your specification. So in this case, I assigned, let's say, 50%. So as you can see here, there is a software requirement. I assigned to it a test specification, and I assigned to this test specification a test case. But you can create the nesting that you want. And as you see, there is the gap that is calculated here is generated in a waterfall way. So for example, the test case cover 10% of this test specification, that itself cover 80% of these requirements. So it's a way to explain people that there is some gap, so someone can join your application and contribute to it because the gap is clear. No? And also you can have a mapped section in the document, so you can also clarify the gaps that way. And then you can also add comment and share your thoughts with your colleague from within the application. So that's just an example to show how the tool looks like and what you can do with it. Let me try to now to show and use a normal example. So you see that here we have notification. So there are people that are joining my instance. So I want to, for example, I want to allow those people to be a user and create their own software component. So I can go in user management as I'm an admin of this tool, and I can enable some users. Okay. So you see that we have different roles. We have guest, user, and admin. So I'm promoting those users to be a users. So let me now just log in as Mark. This is one of the new features that we introduced in the last few months. So imagine that you are joining a public instance of the tool and you need to contribute to a software component like this one. So I want to ask, for example, the permission for accessing, the possibility to write to this software component, create test cases, edit requirements, stuff like that. So from within the application, I can request to the admin, to the owner of the software component, the possibility to write. So you see here, I have a pending request. So what the admin will see it's first of all, it's a notification here. So Mark requested write permissions. and also a kind of inbox into this software component. And from here, you can manage user permission, and you can see that Mark is waiting for write permission. You can assign it to Mark. So this is the UI that simplifies the process of assigning user permissions, and from here you can also clone the set that you have that can be really complex if you have multiple users. You can clone the same set of permissions to multiple software components in one shot using this other tab of the UI. So let's just confirm. So as you see, so this is kind of new features. Let me show to you now how it's possible to import software requirements. So from the mapping view, you can select your section, for example, this one, and you can assign to it a software requirement. From this view, you can create a new software requirement, filling this form, or you can select an existing one, or you can import from an external file. So if you select import, you can select, let's say, one of the supported format, and for example, strict doc as an example, and then you can just select the requirement and import it into the tool. So you will see it in the existing requirement, then you can import and map to your software component. Let's see the same example with the test case import. So if I select a piece, but you can also do from here, map test case. So you can import from an external test repository. So you can ask the tool to scan an external test repository, so like this Fedora project or the branch rawhide. And then the tool will start scanning this repository and will generate a JSON. As the JSON is available, you can select this JSON from your user file list, because you can also upload your user file to BASIL server. Once you have your file, you can load the test case from those files, and you can import all the test cases in one shot. So then later you will be able to map those test cases to your software component and run your test from within the application. So about running test cases, let's have an example. Let's go here. So if you are an admin of the application, you can specify some preset configuration in this page. So it's a YAML format. The specifications are inside the BASIL documentation. Here I specified, for example, one Lava instance that I have locally. I decided on the URL, a private token defined as an environment variable, and I also set some default environment variable that I want to inject in my test cases all the time. So that's kind of configuration. That's because I have this Lava instance running locally at this URL. Okay, so let's see which test run I executed here. So you see the list of test results that I executed here. So from within BASIL, you can select your test case. For example, let's say this one. Go to the test result page, and then you will see the test result that you already mapped to your test case, but you can also navigate a external test run, selecting your plugin, the preset that you have in your configuration file, and then you can also filter with some keys, and then you can search across the external source. So for example, you see here we have listed the same test results that are listed in Lava, and then you can just select the one of your interest and import as a reference for your traceability. And then once you have that here, just let me copy this, for example. When you export your traceability matrix, just pressing this button, you will see that your test run has been listed in your traceability, and it's related to your test case, that's related to your software specification, related to your software component, whatever the traceability is. Okay. That's how to navigate external test results and to map to your test case. But from here, you can also run your test. So you can use an existing configuration, because each time that you run a test, you will save a configuration. The configuration helps you to specify additional information like environment variable, SSH information like the IP and stuff like that. So from the test run configuration, you can select your plugin. That can be also GitLab CI, GitHub Action, testing farm, or whatever. And here, as example, you can select Lava. You can select your plugin preset if you have. Otherwise, you can manually select the URL and the token, and also the Lava job file. But let's just select this one, so you can specify just the environment variable and the branch of your test case. That's because part of the information are stored into the test case. For example, the repository, what is the test file that you want to run is defined as part of the information of the test case. So let me show the test case. Looks like this. So I have this local test file that I want to run in my Lava instance. This is the description of my test case, the name. You can also manage status, for example, new, in progress, to have a work item life cycle. So you can have people approving your work items. So let's see if we can run one test. So let's give it a name. My test run name is demo at OSS. Let me use an existing configuration, Lava. Okay, run. So now I just created a test run that it will run in my local Lava instance. And then you can go to the details, you can navigate logs. It will, on timeout, will check for a test result and will inform you when the test is complete. Okay. In case of TMT, for if you use the embedded test infrastructure itself, instead, you have some additional capability. For example, you can navigate artifacts. You can ask to BASIL to store artifacts of your test run that later on you can download and navigate. So let me now show the AI stuff. So how we can enable this, let's say, the AI support. So from settings, if you are an admin, from setting you can specify the SMTP server, but also this AI section where you can specify the host, the port, the model that you are using, temperature, and a token. So today for this demo, I'm just running an AI model using Ramalama on my laptop. The model that I have is really small, so we cannot see meaningful information in the UI showing up, but so just to clarify the workflow. So let me show an example. When I go in the mapping view, I want to create a test specification for this section. The specification. This is the information that I need to fill to generate a test specification within BASIL. So a title, a set of preconditions, so the status of your system before running your test, the test description, and the expected behavior. Those are the fields. And a percentage of coverage. So as you see here now, we have just submit and reset because we don't have access to our AI agent. So let me just run it using Ramalama. So let's check if it's up and running. So this is the web interface. You can ask Ramalama to don't start the web UI, but just for this demo is enough. So let me do that again. When I'm up test specification, now you see ask AI for suggestion. Here there is a notification because I have not selected a mapping view, a section of the document because I used this button. So if I select a section from here, I'll automatically populate the section that I want to generate the test specification on top of it, and so you don't see the message. So from here, you will see that if I press this button, I will share with the AI the content. So I will share that I want to analyze this section, this information. So I'm asking to create a test specification looking into this. So that's the context that I'm sharing to it. So when I press Ask to AI Suggestion, you will see that it will interact with the backend that will ask to the AI, and is waiting for a YAML-like format. So I do not expect to see it today because this model is really small. So the response will be really unuseful, but that's the workflow. There is also the possibility to get suggestion for test case implementation. If you ask AI to generate a test file, it will add that test file into your user file section. So you see it populated something, but really probably no sense, okay? So you see also it's able to understand integer numbers and expected behavior or something. But so using a powerful model, it will be really, really more useful. So when you ask, for example, for test case, if you populate, let me add a section, sorry, whatever section it is. So I can ask AI for suggestion, but if you also populate that section for yourself, test case example, this is my description. If you populate the description of your test case, you can also ask to the AI a suggestion for the implementation of the description that you added. And it will create, as I said, a file into the user file section that you can later on can inspect and edit from within the tool itself. That's a kind of example of test written in TMT that you can edit from your user file section. So that's all for the demo. I don't know if you have any questions or you want to see anything into the tool. Otherwise, we will go through what's the plan for the next features. Please.
Do you have any other plugins ready for the demo, or was it only Lava?
Today, for the demo, I have only Lava because it's kind of a new feature. We introduced the support for kernel CI in the past and already had some demo. It's also available, let's say, the possibility to navigate test result in kernel CI and link to BASIL. Today, what's not possible is the possibility to trigger a test run into kernel CI, but it's kind of thing that we can, let's say, extend if it's possible. Because I know that probably from the last few months, it is also possible to trigger from external source. At the beginning, it wasn't possible because now the workflow was really looking into the source tree and generate the trigger from there, right? Okay. Thanks for your question. Please.
Is there a possibility to mass export everything to PDFs to send to monitor?
So the question was, is it possible to export to PDF?
Yeah, with everything.
Everything to PDF. The short answer today is no. But if you need it, we can put in the roadmap. I mean, it's today the only export that's possible is SPDX SBOM based on a JSON file, as I showed before. So you can export to SPDX a full library or a single software component. That's the full traceability. That's based on Safety Profile 3.0. And then you can use a JSON to, let's say, to generate your PDF in a different toolchain if you want. But the idea behind this tool is that you can assign a guest permission to your assessor and let the assessor navigate your real stuff. So not what you are, let's say, preparing for him, but really the place where you are working on, no? Because you can create a guest user for him or stuff like that.
My experience is that the assessor doesn't like to learn new tools, so
Yeah.
I prefer to just get PDFs.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah. The comment was not just for the recording. No, the comment was that probably an assessor doesn't only want to read paper. They like paper. Yeah, that's true. Let's think about it if it can be of interest. Please.
The question, if you have quality questions about with a lot of visual input, how do you handle this variety of visual input to your testing?
Sorry, can you ask again? Sorry.
If you have a lot of test data
Mhm.
and you have to have many different scenarios, how do you handle this?
Yeah, the question was how you handle different scenario in your testing, right? So the point is that, for example, let me show this simple user file. This kind of user file to run with the TMT, the the PyTest, the unit test of BASIL API, and the let's say within BASIL you can specify environment variable to inject in your test, so you can use environment variable to change the scenario. TMT also support a different thing that's a bit more probably powerful, that is a context variable that's able to change the behavior of your plan. So I mean, you can say, if the context is that you cannot run this test on top of a virtual machine, for example, or you can do, let's say, whatever logic it is. So it's a bit more lower level, but you can inject environment variable. So you can see in this test, if you specify this environment variable, you can run a different scope with the same test all the time. Otherwise, you can run the full application. That's one way. I mean, to have a single test running in multiple scenarios. That's the question, no?
You earmark the test runs with a cryptographic
Say you can each test run have its own name that you decided. So you can say this is a test run for the full API, this is a test run for a small API, for just this functionality. And the checksum is calculated later on when you export to JSON in SPDX format. It will calculate the checksum of your entry in the database. So you have the picture of that. It's a feature from SPDX SBOM, so that you can put into the SBOM the checksum of the complete row of the. You had a question.
Are you aware of any real-world projects already using that?
I'm just so the question was if I'm aware of projects that are using the tool. I'm just aware of people that ask me a question about the tool, and so someone time to time show up and say how I can do that, how I can do that. So the short answer is no, but let's say that's also not the piece of the small project in your open source, so it's you don't have the full picture, but so. Okay. So let's see what is in our roadmap. So yeah, probably we will take care of a PDF file. So it's not the first time that I heard this question. So the first thing that we have in mind is the possibility, so not the possibility, but so the goal to save the evolution of the SPDX safety profile that is targeting the new version 3.1. That's also because there are other companies that are developing tools on top of that safety profile. One that is remarkable is InfoMagnus, that is working on a continuous compliance framework. And they, at this link, you will see the demo that they had at Denver at last Open Source Summit, where they are using at the moment BASIL as a base ground to generate the data that they will consume to support the continuous compliance capability. So this framework essentially will diff to different SBOM, and based on that will perform action to provide the evidence needed for certification. So it's kind, let's say, of a tool chain that open source, we are developing open source to support safety critical application. So another feature that we have in mind is the possibility to design a baseline, so a picture in time of your project, because what you will share with your assessor is that picture, and then you would like to continue your work later on. So at the moment is so the only way to do that is to, let's say, copy your database and have let's say a copy of it somewhere, and to export your SPDX SBOM and use that as a reference. Okay, but having the possibility to navigate a baseline from within the tool, I think is really useful. Another great thing that we have in mind is to migrate from SQLite to PostgreSQL, because that will really better support communities and concurrency action, and will also increase performance because later we can also enable multiple workers and multiple threads running the API. So yeah, another goal is to extend the test tool coverage. So anyone is welcome to contribute. We have two main testing projects. One is a Cypress end-to-end testing, and the other one is a Python PyTest for the backend that's written in Flask. So feel free to contribute to it. Yeah, another small thing is about improving the user file management, because today is a flat folder. You cannot create a nested level, nested folders. You cannot move things around, rename stuff. So this kind of really, real work things that we need to add to the tool. And one of the questions that we had the last time at the workshop in Lund was about the possibility to extend the Lava plugin, Lava test file to Jinja template. So that's in our roadmap. What we added this time is the possibility to run a Lava test file from your user file section. That wasn't possible before. So that's all from on my side. If you have any other question. Anyway, I want to remind you that we have the booth, Elisa booth at the Solution Showcase. So if you also have any question, we can see later. Or if you want to have a demo during those days, I'm around. So let me know. Okay, thank you very much.